In Africa, I found that it is done through relationships. And one of the things that you have to do is to be in front of people, shaking their hand and talking to them on a regular basis to develop a relationship. Again, the people in post in the embassies and consulates can help you with that, because having helped you identify a market and researched it after you've done your own desk research, if you decide to go and visit a country, they can help you with making the appointments with your potential customers. If you wish them to, they'll approach them, make the appointment on your behalf, provide interpretation services if you need it, or even accompany you. In my case, when I went to a country where I didn't speak the language, nowhere grand, it just happened to be Spanish that I needed because it was Cuba, a member of the embassy staff came with me to act as my interpreter. And you'll find that these people in post have very close relationships with the business community. Once you've been introduced by them, you have a degree of credibility because you've been introduced by somebody from the embassy who is a local. You can then start to take over from that and build your own relationship with these people. There are various programs that UKTI operates that will release funds to you. We can help you with visits to market. We can help you with visits to trade shows overseas, whether you go on your own or with an approved trade organisation. We run trade missions to over 60 countries across the course of a year. Those trade missions are sometimes run in conjunction with a Chamber of Commerce, like the London Chamber of Commerce. If you are registered on the UKTI website, you'll be notified of those missions, and if you wish to participate, all you have to do is register your interest. You'll then get somebody like me on the telephone talking to you about it and telling you what's going to be achieved. If you are fortunate enough to go on one of those missions, it could be to attend a trade show with a mission. It could be just to go as a group, arrive there, be at a reception, and then go off and make your visits yourselves. They can be visits with people in territory or on your own. But you have the benefit of having the embassy and the UKTI person that would accompany you there to help you through any issues that may arise. The support programs that are run to help you are there to help you grow your business. At no point in time do we ever want to get so heavily involved that you feel that we're running your business for you or trying to run your business for you. We're there just to give impartial advice and to make money available to you when you need it. So we can help you with researching your country, providing the information on how to conduct business, the culture, the customs, and by customs, not just business customs, but import duties and so on. Some of the things that you'll also need to consider outside of the pure business part of it is what's required to get there. In terms of visas, do you need visas? Some countries you can apply on arrival, some you can't. If you're going to take advantage of visa on arrival, please double check before you leave the UK. It's no fun being thrown out of a country because you don't have a visa. I know because it's happened to me. It's not nice. You need to know what the health requirements are in terms of inoculations and that sort of thing. And if you need accommodation because you're going on a market visit and you're going off on your own to go and do it, again, speak to somebody like me or speak direct to the people in post. As far as accommodation is concerned, because without knowing individually where each of you is looking as a target market, accommodation is something that you have to be a bit careful about because it can be hugely variable. You want to make sure of your own safety, and you want to make sure it's of a standard that's acceptable to you. Post staff can help you with that. If you're going to go it on your own and do it, I suggest you use something like TripAdvisor. And I would always advocate that on collection from the airport, if it's a country that you're unfamiliar with, excuse me, you get the hotel to collect you. One of the things that people like me who just have turned up in a country without doing a lot of research, as I did when I was younger, a bit more stupid than I am now, I would arrive and I hadn't forethought a few things like how did I get to my clients? I didn't know where they were. I had an address, but I had no more than that. If you need transport and you're not sure in your own mind how you're going to do it, again, ask the embassy staff, can you recommend a car company or a driver? They'll do all of those things for you. If after you've done all of that, you've had research, you've been out to the market, you've had a look at it, you've decided you like it, you're going to go and try and conduct business there. Excuse me. If you have a product that's a tangible product or even a service, and you want to launch it into that country, you can go and visit several people, several different companies, organisations, or you might want to organise a launch event. Something like you're going to take a room, not dissimilar to this, in a hotel, and you're going to invite people to come and meet you en masse. You can do that. You can also ask the embassy, will they do it for you? Because the embassy can make available to you, obviously at a cost, they can make available to you rooms for you to hold a function in, whether it's a product launch or just to do a meet and greet with people. They can lay on a small reception for you, or even a full-blown buffet if that's the sort of thing that you want. But it can all be done. Imagine that you're going to a country that you're unfamiliar with and you want to make an impact on your target market. Excuse me. There is nothing better than people who you want to do business with getting an invitation from Her Majesty's government, from the embassy, on a nice crinkly cut card, saying come and see us, because you'll get a very high level of acceptance of those invitations. I can assure you, I've seen it happen. At those receptions, you will have members of embassy staff there involved. It is not unusual for the ambassador or the consul to get involved and come and say hello and walk around and endorse you. That will do wonders for you. The only thing I would really caution you on is, for some of you, it may be a different culture in that country. One of the things that we have to remember is that we're visitors there. I'm always very conscious of it, that I'm there under sufferance, really, and on the cultures that I have to do what's right and wrong for them. If you obey most of the common rules of business, you get the embassy help, you get the help that's available from UKTI. You can move into the export market, you can be successful without radically increasing your overheads. It can be managed very effectively. When you do that, you're opening up a whole new business stream to yourself that is outside of this market and this small island of ours. And you can reduce the dependency on your market here. Out there, there's a big whole wide world of people that want to buy from us, from Britain. So remember, there's over 1 billion people, a lot of them very young, with aspirations to those things that you and I take for granted. And if you have the enjoyment that I derived from exporting overseas, particularly into Africa, you'll find it hugely rewarding, not just financially, but on a personal basis as well. I've made some very good friends, and it's amazing how welcoming the African countries are towards British business. There are events that are open to you where you'll meet lots of interesting people who want you to go and be involved in their country. I wasn't with UKTI at the time, but I've met deputy prime ministers and various government ministers at functions who've turned into people that have been very helpful towards me and this country in business. So I'm here just to endorse the fact that you should be looking at Africa for an export market. I would apologise again for the fact that you don't have Brian to see you today. You've got the slightly slimmer version this morning. Does anybody have any particular questions about exporting to Africa that they want to hurl at me, or not? Or are you all desperate to go and eat? What you can do is, during the course of the afternoon, you've got other people coming to talk to you. Yes? Don't understand.
Yeah, my name is Chibuzo Bochi. I'm a practicing lawyer.
Yes.
So I wanted to find out, because we've been talking mostly about manufacturing, or mostly about exporting goods to Africa, but what of services? How do we go about it? Do you
still talk to us, because we have people who work in the arena of digital media, so services which are an intangible product, but they're still required. And the person from the relevant sector team would come and talk to you if you want to move into this, and will advise you. One of the areas that is very, very difficult for you to handle if you're working overseas from the UK is intellectual property rights. And we have specialists who will handle or talk to you about intellectual property rights. Have you protected your trademark? Have you protected your IP? Another thing that we being UKTI, can do for you is if you have a website of your own, is it optimized? Are you getting the maximum benefit from it in overseas markets? You can have a consultant from us look at your website and look at it as if you were looking from your target country, and they'll say to you, it's not coming up as you expect it to. Do you want to consider doing these things to it? And they'll give you a very unbiased but very thorough appraisal of your website. And if it is in something like a service and you're trying to persuade people that they should be buying your service, you need to get the most out of that website. If the review pulls up some areas that says, have you considered doing this or that? And if you change it to this format, you'll find that you may get more inquiries. And you decide that you want to do it, then there's up to £3,000 available to you in funding for you to maximise your website. The review of your website does cost you money. It costs you £250. The regular price is £500, but we price match it, so it only costs you half. So £250, you can have your website reviewed, and then there's up to £3,000 if there are recommendations that you go with. But we can help you with services for sure. Is that for any particular market?
Yeah, West African market.
Okay. I'd also suggest that you do get intellectual property rights looked at. The specialist team can talk to you about that. If it's something that you're thinking of doing right now, you want to talk to me while we're having a break in a moment, I'll just take a business card from you and pass it on to the appropriate person who will then contact you. But your ITA's advice is free, it doesn't cost you a beat. Okay.
Joe, exporter. I wanted to ask a question about, most especially from Malaysia, letter of credit. Does it work?
Protecting your payment, yeah. Okay. On goods and services, I think there are three ways to get paid. Cash up front, and sometimes that's difficult,
Yeah.
or letter of credit, or standby letter of credit. Whoever your bank is here, they would need the letter of credit to be guaranteed by a recognised international bank. So if it's from Malaysia, I'm not familiar with Malaysian banking, but one of the majors, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, somebody like that, must be there. And you would need them to guarantee your Malaysian bank's letter of credit. But I sit next to a chap in the office who's a bit of an expert on that arena. If you want to give me your card, I'll take it away and I'll ask you who he suggests you got looked at as a banker in Malaysia, if that helps. Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to add to a point that you've made in regards to traveling from the UK across to West Africa, whether or not you require a visa, yes or no. In some areas from the UK to Africa, you don't need a visa. However, if you're getting a connecting flight from the UK via some places in Europe to get to Africa, you will need a visa to get to the connection, or else they'll turn you back from Europe back to the UK. So that's something that you may all want to look at if you're traveling, getting a connecting flight from the UK to Africa.
If you've become involved with a trade advisor for a particular country, that person would be able to tell you. If not, then phone the embassy of the country that you're visiting. Give them your route and say, I'm going here to here. Do I need a visa? Do I get visa on arrival or whatever? Then they'll tell you. In my case, where I stupidly got thrown out of a country, I'd relied on the fact that the previous time I'd been able to buy a visa on arrival. They changed it. And I arrived and was asked my visa and I said, yes, please. And it was, no, you have to have one. So I was escorted out the country and put on the next aeroplane. It took me to another country that I needed a visa for that I didn't have either. But there they very kindly allowed me in, they just took my passport off me. But that's not the sort of thing you want to put yourself through, because trust me, it's really quite stressful. And the people who have been delayed because you're being loaded onto their aeroplane are quite rude to you. So do please check before you go. There's much more to it than that, and I do have a bit of an excuse, but they didn't regard it as valid. So please be very careful about visa, because as the gentleman said, it will depend upon your routing, and some European countries can be very difficult, particularly France. Not that I'm picking on them, but particularly France. Anything else from anybody? What I would say to you is, if there's something you want to talk about afterwards, I'm going to be here all day. Please come and talk to me. Brian, who I know quite a lot of you know very well, is of course available to you through the Croydon Chamber, and you'll see him at the regular chamber meetings. I will, when I do go, I will leave a pile of my cards with Emmanuel, and if anybody needs anything, you can call me. I won't necessarily deal with it, because if it's in an area that is just something that I know nothing about at all, I'll pass it to the relevant person. The London branch of UKTI, incidentally, is based just up the river here at London Bridge. And to cover London, there's 40 odd people like me who work across the various sectors. And of the 40 odd people, we hot desk. We're not allowed permanent seats. And at any one time, there's probably only about 4 people in the office sitting down. Everybody else is out seeing clients. And we're very careful that when we refer to people like yourselves, your clients, you're not customers, we're not trying to sell you anything. It's quite the reverse, we're trying to give you. So if you want to know what you're entitled to, come and have a chat to me later. I'd love to talk to you. I think, having seen Emmanuel just do a run, it's probably time for lunch. So we'll take a break there, and if you'd like to talk to me later, please do. Thank you.